Hello, and welcome to this video where I'm going to teach you how to make models in Blender 2.8. First, let's take a look at the layout. Here you can make objects visible and invisible if you think they are obstructing the view. Over here you can make the face orientation visible. This makes it so you know what faces will be visible and which not, with the blue and red colors, blue meaning that it is visible and red the opposite. And here you can see this model in 4 styles. But the ones you will use most of the time are the default, semi-rendered and fully rendered. Semi-rendered style shows you what your model would look like with a texture, and full render shows you the same but with shadows. Now these are the basic things you can do with your model. You can move around, scale it, and rotate it on an XYZ axis where the Z-axis is the height instead of the Y-axis. You can also add a reference image by going into Add, then Image, and then Reference, and there you can choose any image you want. It's important to note that the image will appear in the direction you are looking to. Now that we're done with the basics, let's move on to the next part, making the model. For this part of the video we are going to go to Edit mode. Here there are 3 types of selection: vertices, edges, and faces. These types of selections are pretty self-explanatory. Once you selected whatever you want, what you will be using the most are the 3 basic movements I explained before, some new other 3 types of movements, and 2 ways to make new vertices or edges. The first of the 3 new types of movement is Extrude Region. This basically lets you make new vertices without using the cut tool. The second of the 3 new types of movement is Inset Faces, which lets you make a new smaller face inside of another face. And the third new movement type is Bevel. It basically lets you so smooth out your model a little bit. All of these 3 new movement types are very useful in the creation of a model, but be careful as there is a tris count that counts how many triangles your model has, and if you are making them for a game you should try to keep that counter as low as possible. Now the 2 ways of cutting are Loop Cut and Knife. Loop Cut makes a cut the middle of a face you have selected and will cut everything in the model. Knife Cut lets you cut freely from a starting point to the middle points and then an ending point. Note that this will only cut those points and it won't affect your entire model. It is also important to note that this will increase the tris count, so use it carefully. Now as you can see, we can add geometry without making an extra object by pressing the Add Plus button over here. Now if you press Ctrl+L, it will select everything related to it. This means that if it won't select any other geometry that isn't that one specific geometry. If you want to select more faces while having one already selected, you can press Shift plus right click and it will add to your selection that face, edge, or vertex that you clicked. But if you press Ctrl plus right click, it will find the closest path to that face, edge, or vertex and select everything on that path, as you can see in the video. Now let's move on to the next area we will be covering today: UV editing and texture painting. UV editing is very important if you want to make something with a texture. It determines the area where faces will be painted, so it's important to take each and every single piece of geometry and separate them so that they don't touch each other. If you are lazy like I am and don't want to paint the same part over and over again, you can make them share the same texture by taking their UVs. Make them the same size and put them all in the same place. Now to actually see the full UV, go to the second screen you can see and press A. This will select everything. If you just want to see certain parts, UV, press Ctrl+L, then create an image by pressing where it says plus new. This will open a menu where you can name your texture whatever you'd like to, change the initial color of the texture and adjust its height/width. Now press create. Congratulations, now you have your texture. Remember to save it before changing the image if you want to make it of multiple textures. Now for texture painting. As you can see, the model is purple and you can't paint it, saying that it doesn't have a texture. But why does it say that if we just created a texture for this model? You may ask, well, if we go to shading, you'll see that the model isn't have connected to the texture we just created. But how will we connect it? You may ask. Well, we just need to press Add, then Texture, and then Image Texture. After that, you select the image we just created and connect it to the base color like in the video. Now we should be able to paint it. And would you look at that, you can. Well, that was it for this basic Blender tutorial. Hope this was useful and that you liked it. See you again whenever you click one of my videos again.